As I navigate through the bustling streets of Nairobi, Kenya, I can't help but suddenly remember about a journey that brought me here over 40 years ago. In 1981, my mission was clear: to establish a foothold of Christian media in Africa. Back then, it was a landscape of opportunity, a canvas waiting to be connected with the message of hope and faith. But as the time has passed, both Kenya and I have undergone profound transformation. What was once a vista of lush country houses is now dominated by towering skyscrapers, symbols of progress and development. And the city itself, once home to a modest population, now pulsates with the energy of over 5 million souls. Today I'm on a journey to reconnect with one of my earliest allies in this endeavor, a faithful employee who shared in the vision of spreading the name of Jesus. Together, we embarked on the ambitious task of setting up a video studio, crafting programs that would inspire and uplift millions.
Hey! Hey! How are you, my brother? How are you?
Here we are.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
And welcome.
It was a long trip because traffic is...
No, that's no problem. I was waiting for you. You're the one on the agenda now, so...
Now you are the most important now.
After working together for 8 years, Tuju started his own media company, which did very well. From real estate, he did a try to run for presidency and became a well-known politician. Now, he is managing a few projects, and Ntim Sidai is one of them.
I remember a young man working for me with 3 times them.
Yes.
And after that, we did a lot of productions.
Yes.
And I said, but he's not the normal, simple producer anymore. He's a wealthy man, and God has blessed him a lot.
If you consider wealth as health.
But you have gone through a lot of things,
Yes, of
and you're still working.
Oh, yes.
Praise God.
Amen. Because health is the biggest wealth to a person.
That's right.
Yes, and very often people think that material things are important, but I know they're not.
Later, on 12th February 2020, on the Nairobi-Nakuru highway, Tuju was involved in an auto accident while traveling to Kabarak to attend the burial of the late President of Kenya, Daniel Arap Moi. It marked a turning point on his health.
Whatever the enemy meant for evil, God can turn them around. And in my case, it's turned it around.
He did so.
He did. I mean, if you remember a couple of years ago when I had a very bad accident, 22 injuries, 18 bones broken in my body, including my backbone. I went through this operation where the surgeon was in London, and he was brought in.
So it was lucky he was a bit wealthy.
No, I think the lucky thing was that I was very close to the Kijabe Mission Hospital. That's where they saved my life.
In the first place?
In the first place. If I wasn't close, if that accident didn't take place near the Kijabe Mission Hospital, where there was an Australian doctor who cut me immediately and stopped the bleeding internally.
Which was very important.
Yes, so after that everything else was restorative, just to restore health. So life is like vapor.
And I'm counting the days.
Yes, every day is a blessing. Every day is a gift from God, but also a loan from God. What do you do with that gift and loan that you're given?
Right.
In his younger years, Tuju worked as a television producer with several documentary films to his credit and earning the distinction of being the first TV producer in Africa to win an International Emmy Award for a TV production. He mainly addressed health and human development issues in his communication career, with HIV/AIDS and gender empowerment being the main subject matter. In a sit-down interview, he explains to Leo Slingerland his life journey.
The whole program has a lot to do with family media 25 years on air. Now, when we started, we were the third station. I think there are now about 110 and even foreigners coming in on air. You have played a role far before family media. Do you remember that one?
I mean, I remember that's when you talk about 25 years.
Yeah, 25, but
yes,
42 years ago,
yes,
1981,
yes,
we came into the country, and then after about 1 year, I met a guy who was working for VOK as a newsreader,
yes,
which gave you later on a problem with when the coup was there, you
Yes.
remember?
yes,
And then I thought the guy has a beautiful voice, very usable for radio and TV, but he was much more than a voice. He was a producer, and he became a very good producer.
I remember together with Annika, your wife, we used to do radio programs, Happy Sound.
Yeah, I remember you sitting together.
Yes.
I think somewhere I have a photograph of
Yes.
it. The both of you
Yeah.
are presenting, and I was trying with the recorders
Yes.
to put them 4 seconds back,
Yes.
so that the moment it was running,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
you guys had to time very well.
Yes.
And when you didn't time right, we had to start again.
Again, because it was the real tapes, Revox machines we had
Right.
at the time, and so it was in this little studio somewhere on Loengalani Road in
Dagoretti, Dagoretti.
Dagoretti, maybe Dagoretti.
Yeah.
Yes, and we would do the Happy Sound, which came on air once a week, but to produce it used to be quite a lot of work because of the of the editing. When I look back to 1982, the first time we met, it had to do with the Jesse Dixon concert.
Right. 19 concerts, you
Yes,
remember that?
Yes. And I think your first getting in touch with me was because I was working at Voice of Kenya at that time, and you needed somebody who could help, bring this kind of music on air. And it was quite revolutionary, to have gospel music played in a contemporary way.
That was the beginning of worldwide gospel music introduced into
Kenya. Yes.
and we have to say that was Annika, my wife, who was crazy of music because she was a presenter in the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
I still respect her for the fact that she gave up her job.
Mm-hmm.
She was radio and TV presenter in the Netherlands to come to Kenya.
And a very beautiful one that time.
Yeah,
She was a rock star.
yeah,
She
I
was
think
like a
it
rock
was
star. Yes, yeah.
something special.
Yeah.
And she was that till the day she got gone to the Lord. What struck me these days, we have made Christianity a religion with all the forms and the formats in it. And we forgot about the one, Jesus himself mostly, who said, I've set you free.
While working as a police officer in the Netherlands, Leo Slingerland had a mission to reach out to the hippies. Many found Jesus and their lives were changed.
What I've learned in my whole life is he blessed the work of our hands. I always said, so we have to do something. Otherwise he can't bless me.
It's not what you say. And that, unfortunately, what I see with a lot of Christians, maybe that's a talent of a lot of Christians to say a lot of things, but they do very few things. So I think that we need more and more Christians who can be doers and do it without talking about it. I mean,
But I think that there is a wrong perception about ministry. I'm not a pastor, I'm not a preacher. You know me for the last 42 years. I'm quite straightforward in a lot of things. And I believe that God needs all kinds of people. We have 5,000 to 6,000 people who give the last money to keep us on air. God needs that people too. You know, they don't have to be a pastor. They don't have to evangelize, but they give us the opportunity and the possibilities to do so. Because, let me make a big jump. Later on, when you became a minister, you were helpful in getting us permits to get more radio stations on.
You didn't have to pay a bribe for it.
And I didn't have to pay, before I had to pay a bribe.
Yes. Yes.
At least they were asking.
Yes.
And I think God has really used you at that time. And if you ask me why did I go in politics, why did I become a minister of broadcasting, maybe for that.
Well, God uses it different ways, and you're one of my heroes. I've learned a lot of things from you. Even this morning I was telling my family members, because they knew you were coming, and I told them that I've learned so much from you, that yours is also a lifestyle ministry, because I know at a personal level, I know some of the great things you have done as a Christian without talking about it, but what you do for the good of others. I was involved in the adoption of Annabelle, for example. Nobody, by looking at you, would think that you'll go to that extent to help another human being, but that we actually practice what is recorded in the Bible as the story of the Good Samaritan. And I've learned that from you. That's why you're one of my heroes.
You're one of mine, because I've seen you leaving me. You said after 8 years I'm starting for myself, you remember?
Yes.
I helped you a bit,
Yes.
because with what...
We didn't part in...
No, it was not a
friends.
question. I'm resigning tomorrow,
Yes.
and pay me my dues. We were good friends.
Yes.
Then you started, and you were even more successful in the production. You are a goer, and I never expected you to be in politics. But I thought, does that fit with the Raphael I know?
But all of us make mistakes, Leo. I made a mistake.
Yeah, but you never have been fully happy in that one, isn't it? But life brings you sometimes in a situation, and that's why I said God wanted you there probably to make it possible for us to expand our programming all over the country.
I look at my life in politics sometimes with a lot of regret, because I think that in many respects it was a waste of my time. I could have done other things. But right now, right here, I have a young lady who is a doctor, and she helps in this wellness facility that I have here. And I took her to high school. She's one of the kids that I sponsored.
You thought?
Okay, fine. And then, because I was in the office that I was in one of the foreign countries. I went to many countries, and every time I went to those countries, I would ask if there are any possibilities of getting scholarships for young people to train. And so I got positions in China, in Malaysia, in Morocco, several countries. And this is one of the lady who is now here. She's a doctor, and she's back and she's working here. There's no chance in the world that she should have ever been a doctor if I didn't pick her from the village. So sometimes I look at somebody like her and I say that it was worth it. I have a young man who, he approached me in a local market in Siaya and told me, look, I've lost my parents, I'm with my grandmother, I want to continue with education, I can't make it. So I took him to school, got for him a scholarship. He went to Morocco, he studied cyber security. He's now working for the British government in the UK. He got married to an Ethiopian beautiful doctor that he met in Morocco. But he comes to Africa, sponsored, he comes to Africa as an expert in cybersecurity to Kenya, to Rwanda, to Botswana, to Morocco, and he works for the British government. I picked him from the market. So I'm just giving you those two examples. So it's worth it.
In 2002, Tuju was elected as a member for parliament for Arienda constituency. He served until 2007 and managed to promote education sector in the region by building new classrooms. He also implemented a major water project for the Arienda people and introduced an innovative mobile hospital to reduce infant mortality as a result of malaria and HIV/AIDS.
You've gone for president, you've been a minister, you've been the right hand of Uhuru and Kibaki. Are you ever thinking to go back into politics?
You know, if any politician tells you that they'll never go back to politics, it's lying. So I don't want to lie.
So it was meaning it is something in your blood.
No, it's not in my blood. But sometimes you may find that there's a certain conspiracy of factors coming together and putting a wind behind your sail to propel you to a certain direction. So basically, if it is that I go back, I think I'll be looking at basically what the Lord wants me to do, because I don't want to plan for next week. So at this particular moment in time, I think I'm very focused on what I'm doing as far as getting my business on track is concerned. I'm having very, very little contact with the political establishments, and I'm just really enjoying my life.
You are now happy.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying.
All happy sound around.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course you can hear the birds.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's a good place.
You see the Gong Hills.
Seeing the Gong Hills,
I
a
think
lot of butterflies.
God has blessed you somehow.
I'm very blessed. And I mean, after surviving a plane crash.
You're right.
And surviving a
road crash.
What else is left?
Earlier, Leo Slingerland talked about the city's growth over the years. The population has grown from a low of around 17 million people to over 50 million today. How best can that development be described? Let's find out as Leo and Tuju visit the Patterson House in Karen and talk about these developments.
So what happens even here, you can see, it is soil, which is used for keeping it together. So the cement was only for pointing.
Dr. Patterson's current home, now turned into a spa hotel, features souvenir Victorian furniture, unspoiled landscape, fresh air and lush forests from indigenous trees. Dr. Albert Rutherford Patterson lived in his 6-bedroom house in the heart of Karen, nestled on 20 acres of farmland with an unobstructed view of the rolling Gong Hills.
You know this one?
Yeah, you can
yes.
make some beautiful
It didn't
music.
use any batteries, eh? You just,
You turn
there
it
were two
around.
of them. This one, people spoil it, so it doesn't work. But I have one which is working. So
Yeah,
I
they're
keep that in the
unbelievable,
house.
but they make music.
Yeah, they make music. Yeah, the loudspeaker is somewhere here.
Yeah, do you take it out?
Yeah. So this is a loudspeaker. Yeah, that's where the music comes from. Yeah.
And that is the needle?
There's the needle. Yes.
Needle should be on.
Yes, some of them. We used to keep them somewhere. Yeah. These are the needles.
Yes, the needles you put in.
Yeah.
Wow. Good old time.
Yes. And this is another generation.
Yeah. The Imperial
Radio.
radio.
It was quite a technique to be able to get the stations.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
This was even a stereo already.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's stereo. I think over there we have the place for keeping the records.
Right?
And here was the turntable. Yeah.
This house has a rich history, as Tuju explains to Leo.
Karen has getting a lot of history. And before the high rise are coming here, we better preserve a bit of it.
Yes, that's why I'm still trying my best to preserve this one. This was the number 4 stone house in Karen. The older houses were made of corrugated iron sheets on the wall or wattle tree on the wall. So this was number 4. Because this man was here during the same time when Karen Blixen was living in this area. And for many years, actually it was a farm where we just walked through. There was, I found the enclosure for the cows and the pen for the calves.
Really?
I've made them now flower gardens, but yes. I found it here.
There was the Happy Valley here, isn't it?
No, the Happy Valley was, it was part of it. I mean, the whole of Karen, all the way going towards Gong was notorious.
I have a question a lot of people would ask you. How did you become wealthy enough to do these things?
Well, I don't think I'm wealthy.
No, to buy it.
To buy this. I mean, I think I'm very daring. Like, I took a big loan for this.
I know you're a sharp guy.
Yes, I took a big loan. But Leo, you have to remember, I mean, like when I went into production, I was the first person in the African continent, not Kenya, in the African continent to win an international Emmy Award. Mm-hmm. That counts for something.
That gives money.
Yes. I worked for you, and that's when I bought my first land in Karen, and it was 100,000 shillings an acre. The same 100,000 shillings an acre.
You borrowed it at the cooperative bank.
Yes. Now,
I remember
you
that,
remember that
yeah.
Because you wrote for me a letter that you would be able to deduct that money from my salary direct to go to the bank to pay for my loan. So, 1 acre at that time was 100,000. 1 acre today is anything between 50 and 70 million, depending on which part of Karen it is.
And what do you think about the future now?
My future belongs to God.
Yeah, but you must have plans, isn't it? You have a family.
I think what is important, I like the song One Day at a Time, in the sense that I sympathize with those who now they start talking about next year, 2025, 2026, 2027 elections. Some are even talking about 2032 elections. And I look at them and say, wow, they are more brave than me, because I don't know what's going to happen next week. Life is a loan from God, is a gift from God. And you can be sitting here thinking you're very okay, but then
it can be over all of a sudden.
Yeah, all of a sudden. I mean, there's some cancer growing in you somewhere, and you don't know. You don't know whether you'll be the next victim of a crash, air crash, or a road crash. Anything can happen anytime. So
at least you know where you go to.
Yeah.
Then you know where you go to.
Yeah. So really,
make music with Anneke maybe upstairs.
Yes. So maybe playing music with Anneke upstairs. So really, I know that God, life is a gift from God, and anybody who is thinking too much about what they think they can achieve in a lifetime have got a misplaced way of thinking. But that is not to say that you should not work hard and see what you can do to make a difference.
40 years of friendship, and a lot has happened. Kenya has changed, and so are the people. From one TV station, VOK, we can now get the whole world on our screens. 25 years ago, Leo launched the first Christian radio and TV station. At that time, the third broadcaster, and only God knows how many people have been blessed by it. It is very special to see how God has blessed both of them on a different way and has brought them over the years together when it was needed.
When we used to film with you, and there was only the LDK-14 camera. You needed a separate engineer, yes.
$75,000.
Yes, $75,000. And it was the most expensive camera in the country that time.
Right.
And you needed an engineer who knew how to work to create a balance, you know, because it used tubes, not the technology we have today for cameras. And so you had to bring in an expatriate from the Netherlands, Rob Ice Brandy.
All right.
Yeah? Yes, and it was quite something to be able to produce a program.
Over the years, the media landscape has changed as Leo and Tuju reminisced over the growth of technology.
When you see how far we've come in terms of
Now we're driving around and we have the cameras connected on the thing we're sitting in.
Yeah.
At that time, I remember you sleep with it.
Yes.
Because it was so costly.
Yes.
You had a camera. And now I'm thinking, and I remember before I started family media, I was always looking for new equipment. Because then you get that in your blood as a producer, and if you don't see what we can do these days with much cheaper stuff, but now the next problem that comes up is how we need people who really can make content.
Yes.
You know, my biggest problem at the moment is content creators. Not nonsense, but putting things together understandable for people.
And with a lot more thought and insight.
We were making a production of 30 minutes.
Yes.
And we were working on that for weeks.
Yes.
These days my guys come home with 3 hours on a camera. And then okay, they put it together and then we call it content.
It's a different philosophy. Do you remember when we had to go to Tanzania and we were doing a program with President Nyerere?
We were the first one
Yes.
to do an international connection
Yes.
on satellites.
Yes. And it needed permission from the highest level of the land to be able to do that, because the signal was coming in from Dar es Salaam into Nairobi and then into Longonot, so that then it could go through the Longonot satellite for international broadcasting live.
And all the stations in between,
Yes.
we had to deliver fuel
Yes.
for the generators, you remember?
Yes, I remember.
Unbelievable. Now you can say what things have changed.
Things have changed. Now they're able to broadcast from their telephone.
Right.
Camera from it goes live on air internationally. It was quite a feat. Because as you say, we were the first in the country to do that kind of international connection. So you've made your contribution, my brother. You may not, those who don't know, but those of us who know, we know what contribution you made. I hope you feel proud when you meet somebody like me, who you picked me as a young man, and you taught me production, and I ended up becoming a producer.
You know, most important things in life are the people you work with,
Yes.
you know.
Yes. And the people whose lives you've changed.
Yeah,
So
those lives have changed, and the good thing of it is it changed you too, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, but at least I want to tell you, you changed me. You gave me the opportunity to learn production both here and I remember you made me the connection to represent Radio Netherlands World Service. I was able to do some radio programs for them. You remember a lady by the name Veronica Wilson that you introduced me to
You're right.
in Hilversum. Yeah?
Yeah.
All those little things here and there made all the difference.
And I remember in 1982, after the coup, you were really in trouble
Yes.
because they were really
I
thinking
think that I was part of it.
you were part of it.
Yes,
isn't
and
it?
I was just a broadcaster in the station on that
Yeah,
day.
you was innocent as it could be.
But I tell you why, I was ethnically profiled, because I was Luo.
That's the thing.
That was
but
it, yes.
still, Kenya has to learn to accept Kenyans and not to accept tribes.
Unfortunately, that's the situation we find ourselves in.
And now what we have done, we have put all our counties in tribes.
Yes.
I think it was a big mistake.
Yes.
We should have mixed it up.
It's a pity. I believed in making this country be one country, that your tribe does not matter. But
That's why you came into politics.
yes, we'll still continue to try in a modest way, even after leaving politics. Okay, let's go to the bush, my friend.
Before we part ways, Raphael wants to take us to his special spot when he needs to relax, as he explains to Leo.
This is a natural spring, so the water comes from down. It's not a dam as such, but the original owner of this place had cleared it and put some fish. There are no more fish anymore because the birds come to eat any fish which is here and the frogs which are here. So
Yeah, I think I don't give you some of my koi fishes. They will go.
they'll go if you give it. The koi fish will go because the birds, you see them coming. They're hunting birds. They actually come. But the whole of this line, because behind the conference center there's an old well, which has been there since 1930s. So it was the primary source of water.
A day well spent between two friends who met over 40 years ago. What a rich history about media development and the country in general. As Family Media celebrates 25 years on air, be sure to catch our next mystery personality in the subsequent episode.